Similarly interesting, and I'd like to introduce the first speaker for the day in track 1. Well, of course, it doesn't require an introduction. We know him as the rock star of the Indian technical community. There's only, you will all know about him. He's there on YouTube, he's there on Google actually. But there's only one special thing I need to announce about him. He officially became a fellow of STC this year. That is a big achievement for him. A big round of applause for him, please. Yeah. So we have Makarand Pandit on stage, and he's going to present on freelancing. Welcome, sir.
Oh, thank you. Good? Yes. Connected? Alright, so, working. Alright, so yesterday I think many of you came to me and asked me whether you could get my presentation that I use as an inaugural presentation. So that's the link, the second one. So if you go there, so it's https://gwo.gl, and those Google links are case sensitive, so it has to be capital Q W2FA5. So that's the link to yesterday's presentation. And the one on top, that is N4QSZQ, that's the link for today's presentation. Alright? So in fact I have not built it as a presentation, I have built it as a Word file. Because yesterday I got feedback that some of the presenters, while they are presenting, the slides are not clearly visible. So I thought I'll use a high contrast of Word, black text on white. And is it readable? Yes. Easily? So all of you who want to shift, please come to the front. Don't worry, I won't drive you away. Don't worry. So you can shift to the front if you want. A lot of seats available here. I like to talk about freelancing because I have been doing that for the last 22 years. On 25th of November, we completed 22 years. That is, Technorites completed 22 years. So let me start with my very first slide or page, whatever you may want to call it. So what is freelancing? What do you think is freelancing? Tell me. You work for free? That's what is freelancing? No? What is freelancing?
You don't work for a particular company, you work for like any client.
Okay, so you don't really work for a particular company, you work for a number of clients. Can we have a hand mic? Allow you consulting charges. So they may be paying you contract rates. Because you are not an employee, you probably don't get leaves and so on and so forth. But yes, you do get paid, right? But you may not be an employee. Moonlighting is when you are working when the moon comes up, which essentially means you are working after your day's work is over. So maybe in the evening or something like that, you are working on a part-time basis for some other company. And finally, full-fledged freelancing. That means you are working full-time, all the time, but for a number of companies or a number of projects simultaneously. Remember, there is no Jain chicken. So I recently heard that in Mumbai you get Jain chicken now. So what is the meaning of Jain chicken? There is no onion in it. It seems there is no garlic in it. But there is chicken in it. That's another story, right? But then chicken is above the ground, right? So onion and garlic is so there is no Jain chicken. So similarly, there is no short-term business, right? There is no veg biryani. So if it's biryani, it has to be non-veg. If it is chicken, it has to be non-veg. If it is business, it has to be long-term. There is nothing called as short-term business. Alright? We'll come to some points related to that. But freelancing is like doing business. And if you want to freelance, you perhaps need to develop your business skills as well. Just tech writing skills may not be sufficient. So let's go ahead. So what do you need to get started? Am I going in the correct sequence here? So what do you need to get started? I'll try to rush through some of these points because I think many of them are sort of obvious, but if you have any questions, feel free to raise your questions at any point of time. So obviously you need a computer, a printer, internet, mobile phone, website, email ID and so on. You need to have working space where you are going to work. You need to have a legal entity in which name you are going to work. Now, a number of times you yourself are a legal entity because you probably assume that you already have a permanent account number for income tax. So you are a legal entity by yourself, right? However, if you are thinking of long-term business, it's not a good idea to do business in your own name. Alright? So Steve Jobs did not start a company called as Steve Jobs. He started a company called as Apple. Those days where companies were named after their founders like Hewlett Packard and Larsen and Toubro are very old days. Nowadays nobody does that. So nowadays you have got a Microsoft, you have got Apple. In fact, I have heard a story about Apple, I don't know whether that's true. I was told that they said that, well, we have to register a company today. Now you guys better come up with a good name. That sounds like something creative, something to do with silicon, something to do with IT. If you don't give me any good name, I am going to send the form today evening with the name Apple Computers. A for Apple, as simple as that. And since nobody replied to his mail or whatever, I think he just went ahead and registered the company as Apple. Alright? So that was the story of Apple. Question is, what is going to be the name of your Apple? So think about the name. Is it going to be a proprietary concern? If yes, you will perhaps need to register it. When we register it in Maharashtra, we register it under what is called as Mumbai Shop Act license, Bombay Shop Act license. I don't know whether that's applicable in other states, go and find it out. If you actually want to incorporate a company or if you actually want to register, better take the advice and the service of a proper chartered accountant who can help you identify what kind of company you may want to register. So proprietorship actually is not a company. Partnership is not a company. When it's private limited or it's public limited, only then it's a company. Otherwise, technically it's not called as a company. Legally it's not called as a company. Partnership type of entities have got the shortest lifespan. They don't exist for a long period of time. But proprietorships do. So having a proprietorship is a good idea. From taxation point of view, so when I started Technorites, I started it as a proprietary concern. So from taxation point of view, Makarand's income is Technorites' income, or Technorites' income is Makarand's income. So even if Technorites earns a single rupee, I have to show that in my income tax return, right? However, if it's a private limited company, so now it has got a different legal entity. And now there has to be an income tax return for that private limited company as well. And that's the reason I said you better get information about it. If you want to incorporate a company, so there are two types of incorporated companies, private limited, public limited. For a private limited company to incorporate, you may have to spend anything in the range of 25 to 50,000. You have to do a name search and blah blah blah, and then there is something called as incorporation. So on this note, let me show you a few things here. This looks like. Are you able to see? So it says Mumbai Dukan Adhiniyam Sanstha and so on. So that's what you get when you create your proprietorship, right? So the name is there. Now this kind of a document is also required for a private limited company. So what I am showing you is the Shop Act license of the Technorites private limited company. But even for proprietary you get this, right? And that's all you need to incorporate. If you just have to get a Shop Act license for 1 year, I think it's probably going to cost you less than 700 rupees. And then there must be a number of consultants available. If you go through, Just Dial or newspapers, you'll probably find a person who can come to your place, take your papers, go do the Shop Act and give the money to you. If you are going to do it for 3 years straight away, right? Because it becomes a hassle after 12 months, especially if your business is doing good, just to go for renewal. And that cost is not going to be too much. So this is what the Shop Act looks like, and this is the flip side page, so which tells you what is the validity and so on. If you actually incorporate, then there is something called as Articles of Association or Memorandum of Incorporation. So this is a document which is bound, and when you actually get your company registered, it's a bound book that they give you, almost has got like 20-25 pages. And if you want to see, so it also has got what we call a certificate of incorporation. So it says a company with that name has been incorporated. Now when you go to open a bank account, or even if you want to apply for a telephone in your company's name, they'll ask for all this. right? If you are a private limited company. So this is your memorandum of incorporation. Then it has got everything, what will the company do and so on. So there are like about 20 pages which are not included in this set. So it starts from here and then finally it ends here. So it says, okay, so who was the witness for this to be incorporated? Who are the shareholders in that particular company? And then there will have to be board resolutions and so on. So I'll not get into all that because that's not the focus of our session today. You also have to get a PAN card if it's a private limited or a public limited company. That looks just like your PAN card. So it's not really much different. But once again, this will be required if you have to go for bank account and so on. Now this is your service tax registration, right? And as per me, technical writing is a professional service. It is covered by service tax. And you may have to charge service tax on whatever invoice you are raising. And we'll come back to this when we talk about invoices and so on. You also need to make a stamp which looks something like this for TechnoRights Private Limited. So this stamp has to be put on a check. Most checks are now printed with something like that, so you don't have to put the stamp. But there would be many other documents which will come to you or which you may have to give to somebody else, which may not have the stamp built in. So you'll still need to get that stamp, and that's what we call as a round seal, right? If it's an incorporated company, you also need to have a metallic seal, which I don't have here right now. It's a huge metallic thing. You have to punch it, right? And it's a mandatory thing. So these are all statutory requirements. Now, so there is a lot of material that I'm going to give you. I already shared the link. I'll share it once again at the end of the presentation. So I talk a little bit about it. So how to prepare a quotation as a freelancer. So here is a template that I've given to you. You can use this for preparing a quotation, right? If you want to prepare one. But then don't you think some explanation of this template will be required? So I'm sure that I won't get time to do that. So what I've done is I've already put a transcript inside another Word file. So it tells you section by section how you will fill up that template document. Alright? So all the explanation about the template document, each and everything that is mentioned there is already included here. Similarly, I also have got an invoice template here, and there is a transcript for the invoice template as well. How to use it. If you get time, we'll go through that. I don't know if we are going to get time. But all these files, other than of course my articles of incorporation and shop act, and so those are image files, they are not included in the download, but these files are already included, right? So when you click on the link that I have given you, you'll be able to download a lot of files, and that includes all these files. It includes a few more things. So I have written some articles about estimation. So a number of times people ask me question about estimation. So that article was written by me and it was published in the SPC newsletter, which is Intercom. When was it published? November 2001. So that article is here. It's also available online. So if you just search for estimating documentation projects, you will see this online. Somebody has even built an Excel sheet estimator based on this estimation technique. So since my lecture is not about estimation, I am not going to discuss this, but all this I have included. There was a series of 3 articles I have written, which is RCO and estimation part 1, part 2 and part 3. So all of them are here. So when I am talking about RCO is a rich content outline. So moving forward, how do you really prepare the design of the document? So all that is here. How do you prepare an estimate for that? All that is here. So 3 parts are there. So all this is included in this zip file that you see here. And this zip file will get downloaded when you click on that link. One more article that I have included is 7 habits for successful freelancing. So this was again an article which got published in the SPC newsletter. Once again, I'll have to look at the footer to know the date. Yeah, I did mention things like that, right? So if you want a sample, this much is enough, right? So just give small samples, good samples. More than that, try to get client references and testimonials, people who will vouch for you. And that's why you should be on LinkedIn. You should have a LinkedIn profile and people should have said good things about you. LinkedIn is very important if you want to be in business. In fact, anywhere you want to be, LinkedIn is very important. But especially more if you are into freelancing. Marketplace present. Now what is marketplace presence? There are a number of sites like Elance, TrueLance, Freelancer and so on and so forth. You should register there. You should create your portfolio there because a lot of people are coming there. You must have noticed that there are McDonald's around in Hyderabad. Are there? I'm sure there are. But is there a McDonald's at airport? Yes. Is there a McDonald's in some big mall, which is the biggest mall in Hyderabad? It has to be there. Why? McDonald's can simply say, oh, I have one on so-and-so road, right? Near Panjagutta, I have one, so if you want to eat my burger, come there. Does McDonald's say that? No. They'll go everywhere where there is a market presence required. So even if you have your own website, you should have your portfolio on the market, on the marketplaces, like Freelancer and so on we talked about. Right? So you should have an account there. You should have some samples created there. You should have your contact number, your email ID there. Many of these sites will give you some amount of service for free, but then at an additional payment, they give you some very good services. There's a lot of value addition. It makes a lot more sense for me to be in a place where customers are going to come and look for technical writers, rather than your site, which I may not even get unless I know the URL. Right? Because Google will search for a million other sites in addition to yours. So that comes, and that brings us to advertising and Google advertising and so on. But all this is a part of your portfolio, right? You should have your own videos on YouTube. You should have your own channel on YouTube. When somebody told me a few years ago that, Mac, I think you should put some of your videos online. And I said, who do you think is going to look at that? He said, well, you don't know, people are interested in it. Correct? I'm glad to tell you that right now the total viewership of my channel is about 98,000 views. So in probably 2 months I'll be exceeding. Yeah, you can clap for that. So in probably about 2 months I should be touching 1 lakh. And I never knew that people will be interested in my videos that much.
1 lakh is
It may be the same person visiting again. In fact, I get a feeling that some of that could be me only. Because after I upload my videos, I like to look at it, right? So, but I'm sure that at least 98% are genuine. Even if you say, okay, 2,000 are mine, I think 96% is somebody else, right? And I think that's quite good. Now, whenever I get an inquiry nowadays, I get a lot of training inquiries, business inquiries, and so on. And even here it happened that people told me yesterday, I've seen you in your videos. So you don't know. People may really want to find information about you. And isn't it better that they spend their time knowing you rather than you going there and telling them in your time that what you are? Yes.
What kind of videos and what would you talk about and what would you...
Maybe you should talk about importance of business communication, importance of technical writing. Based on your experience, try to create something that people would be interested in. Correct? I want to talk to people who make sense. Right? So as long as people think that, oh, you know your subject, they'll come and talk to you. It takes you a step further. We call it as lead processing. You got a lead. Now you'll have to convince that lead that you are the correct resource. How do you do that? Now, do you want to physically travel down to Mumbai just for a 15 minutes meeting? Do you want to forget about Mumbai? I mean, do you want to go to some different part of Hyderabad just for a 15 minutes meeting? No. Video does the job. Let it speak. You may have to spend something for that. But today, wonderful tools are available. And there is one very good tool which I would recommend. Of course, it's a bit costly, but it's a very good tool. And I don't know why Adobe does not really promote it in SPC conferences. Adobe Presenter. Using Adobe Presenter, you can really create some very good videos, even with a web camera. And if you really want to have, a good video created, use a Logitech C920 or some equivalent of that. Correct? It captures your audio, it captures your video also. Go to a slightly silent room and you can create the videos there. Really very good videos can be created. And you can go and look at, my website. Logical C920 is a web camera. It will cost you about 4,500. Don't go for a high-res camera. There is a high-res camera also available. The problem with the high-res camera is along with you, it will take everything on your left and right. Correct? So you just want you, right? You don't want that teacup and you don't want that TV and you don't want something else to be seen in that. So don't go for a wide-angle camera. That is also available. Right? So go for something which is smaller. Right? Alright. Financial requirements. That's one question that people often ask me. How much money do I need if I have to start my business? Well, within financial requirements, first try to understand that there are different things. There's something called as working capital and then there is a long-term investment. Now people often confuse working capital for long-term investment or vice versa. So when they start with a working capital which they end up spending as long-term investment that reduces their working capital. Then at some point of time they run short of working capital. Then they make a self-fulfilling prophecy that this is not going to work out. My freelancing is not going to proceed. Within 3 months I have lost all my money. Let me tell you, freelancing or any other business that you start with, let it be a startup in any domain. For the first 2 to 3 months, minimum for first 3 months, your financial cash flow is going to be negative, which means you are in losses for first 3 months. At least within first 3 months, if you are in plus, congratulations, you are having a great time. Correct? But for many companies, for Paytm, I think they are going to be negative for like 2 years. Flipkart is just coming out of it. So their initial cash flow is going to be negative. And that's going to be there for all companies, including your freelance setup. So what is working capital? In fact, you may have many of the things that I have mentioned there in long term, right? So probably you already have a computer setup. You probably have a phone. You probably have got an office premise, or you are ready to work from home. It could be a good idea to work from a bedroom or something like that if there is nobody else to disturb you. Otherwise, you can go to a business center, rent a place, and then maybe peacefully work over there. What are you going to put in the working capital? Something like your daily expenses, food expenditure, travel expenditure, salaries that you are going to pay to you as well as to your team members, if any, right? Maybe the maid who's going to come and clean your premises, maybe the chap who's going to give you tea. So, miscellaneous expenses and so on. Minimum 3 lakhs. Ideally 6 lakhs is what you should be looking at if you are into freelancing for long term. And as I mentioned earlier, there is nothing called a short-term business. Correct?
Sir, this is expected for how long time? Like
This is expected for all the time.
Means it is for 1 month, 1 year?
No, it's there all the time. Year after your business starts running, you will still have to have working capital. As a freelancer, nobody is going to pay you on a month-on-month basis. People are probably going to pay you only after your project is complete. So that working capital should be there. When I say working capital, don't keep cash of 3 lakhs in your drawer. Correct? Keep it in your bank account and everything. But then at least that kind of money should be available to you within a time frame of, let's say, 48 hours if required. Correct? So afterwards, when you start making money, again start keeping some money aside. Now, since technical writing is not a capital intensive business, you can see the long-term investment is actually less. Right? If it's a capital intensive business like maybe this hotel, then the long term is going to be more. In fact, it's also going to be a longer term. So here we are assuring it to be something like 3 years. In their case, maybe it's like 12 years minimum. Right?
Matt, will you also talking about the requirements for moonlighting?
Who's talking? I'm sorry. Yeah.
You will be covering the requirements for the moonlighting project. You were talking about moonlighting as one of the options, right?
Use a mic, please.
You're talking about the moonlighting option as well, right? Will you be talking about the requirements for such a
Well, in moonlighting, you hardly have any requirements for a number of reasons. As I said, whatever I am showing as a long-term investment, a lot of that is probably already there with you. What is that? A lot of this is already there with you. Computer setup and so on. And if you are moonlighting, I assume that you already have a job and you are doing that as a part-time. So you don't have to pay your own salary. So moonlighting is like additional money as and when you get it. And moonlighting should be done not for a regular income, but only for additional income. It should be done for passion. It should be done for satisfaction. It should be done for creativity and so on. Don't do moonlighting as your main business. You'll have to understand the priorities in your life. Go ahead.
Got it. Just one more thing. Are there any legalities involved? I mean, what sort of
Same thing that I mentioned earlier. So you may have to decide whether you want to do it in your company's name, proprietorship, or you want to create a private limited company. You can do moonlighting in whatever name you want. To start with, I suggest that you take it in your name. If you are just doing it as a part-time additional income kind of thing, just do it in your name. Don't try a separate bank account or something like that. Once you are able to sustain that activity for, let's say, 2.5 to 3 years, then maybe think about a proprietorship company or a private limited company.
Okay, so
initially, you don't have to invest too much.
Sure. Do I need to let my company know that I'm doing something like this?
Absolutely.
I should.
It depends. Actually, the answer is it depends on your engagement and the terms of your contract with your organization. Right? many organizations will have a problem if it is a conflict of interest. So, for example, many companies would not object if you are going and doing something which is not related to their business. And I think Manoj can vouch for this. Manoj was also working with us when we created a course at the University of Pune, right? And I invited a lot of people to join me as a faculty. Manoj was one of them. So when Manoj went to his company, I think they did not have any problem because there is no conflict of interest here. They are saying, oh, you are going and teaching kids how to be, so you cannot accept money. But then the university said, we will have to give the money, otherwise our auditors will take objection. So our HOD found a good way out of it. So he used to give a check, tell them endorse it to the students' fund and take it back, put it in the So anyway, so there will be legalities involved. So talk to your company. Find out, go through your terms of contract, terms of employment and find it out.
Mike, just a second.
Yeah.
So, in terms of moonlighting, as we were discussing, another point would be how do we promote ourselves? So, LinkedIn, naturally, we will be talking about.
Yeah, I think I mentioned about that. So, LinkedIn profile, a marketplace presence, something like Freelancer, Toolance. So, you have to have a portfolio there. You will have to have a good website where you perhaps need to do Google advertising and attract people. You will have to have a web presence like your own videos or material on YouTube. So people can, one way or the other reach you. One more way that works the best is what we call as networking. And STC conferences are a good opportunity to do that. That's what I'm here for. And don't you get it? It's networking for me. For me, it creates a lot of inquiries, a lot of contacts. At some point of time, they are going to say, oh, I know somebody who gives technical writing as a service. And I think he is a good person. Why don't you meet him? Correct? I don't go to each one of you and say, hi, good morning, how do you do? I give technical writing service. I don't do that. It's not a direct promotion. It's a very subtle indirect promotion and it's called as networking. Okay? So networking is absolutely essential. Some of those points will come as we go ahead. Vivek, you are going to tell me about the time, right? I think we have started a bit late, so give me advantage of that. Yeah.
So tools require a lot of investment, right?
Tools will take a lot of investment. That's a very good question. So there are a lot of free tools available today. Go to a site called as portableapps.com and you will get at least 200 free tools there. Correct? What I use the most is, of course, OpenOffice. There is something called as LibreOffice. There is a tool called as Dia, which is used to draw diagrams. OpenOffice itself has OpenOffice Draw, which is very good. So for making diagrams like Visio. Of course, Visio is a paid tool, so it gives you more than 13,000 shapes in the library. But then these things are not bad, correct? That's point number one. Point number two, a number of tools a number of software applications are now available on license basis on a yearly licensing pattern. Software as a service. So even Microsoft offers the entire Microsoft Office suite, I think at something like 7,000 or 8,000 per year for commercial. For home license, I think it's as less as a couple of thousand, maybe 1,200 or something like that per year. Don't go for a home license. Correct? Otherwise, if you go to a conference like this, you open your presentation and say, oh, home license. Correct? That creates a bad impression. This is not my laptop. Okay? So that's anyway. But go for something like that. Why? Otherwise, you will end up paying like 27,000 and maybe that version will become obsolete in 3 years or 2 years. Here what happens is when you are paying per annum, next year when you pay, you automatically upgrade to the next version. Correct? And anything like 1,500 to 2,000 rupees per month, I think is hardly a cost. You'll end up paying more rent than that. Right? Do we have any other questions? Yes.
Can a single entity corporation be registered in India?
Can a single
Entity corporation can be registered in India.
Okay. Number one, I am not an accountant. So maybe you should seek an accountant's advice or a legal advisor's advice. I haven't heard of anything called as single entity corporation. There is something called as LLCL, Limited Liability Corporation. So LLCs have started in India. Private limited is there, public limited is there. I have not heard about a legal entity called a single entity. All these entities are single entities only. Reliance is a single entity. It cannot be a dual entity. So maybe you are referring to something else. So it's best that you talk to a CA because they will probably be able to guide you better.
Can we apply for bank loan?
Can we?
Apply for bank loan.
That depends on your relationships with bank. The best thing that you can use, but use it very carefully, is a credit card. Because on a year-to-year basis, you may end up paying interest at 38% per annum. That's the worst case interest the credit card company charges you. And they fool you by saying minimum payment required. What is your outstanding? Outstanding is 52,000. Minimum payment has some 2,500. What does your mind tell you? What is minimum payment? So make minimum payment now. So rest of it you are continuing as a loan. Correct? So on a year-on-year basis, you end up paying 38% as interest on a credit card. But it's good because it allows you to do a lot of internet transactions, pay for a lot of things on internet, server space, website registration, software licenses and so on. So use it, but only when required. Keep it as a buffer. Can you apply for a loan? Yes. Now there are many types of loans. Once again, I am not a banker, so let me not talk about it, but I can tell you there is secured loan, there is unsecured loan. Right? Secured loan will be given to you against your collaterals. And that depends on what assets you have and how much the bank values your assets as. Right? So it can go up to a few lakhs. Alright, so we did talk about this. Mitigate your risks and insurance. So you have to have these two things covered, whether you are an employee or a freelancer. Now in many cases, if you are working as an employee, maybe your company is covering something like that. But let me warn you that this is perhaps the most important point in my presentation. A lot of people are working with some company as a contractor and they have never read their contract. They don't know whether the company is going to pay for them if at all something happens while they are in the company's premises, or while they are traveling to their company's premises, or while they are coming back, or wherever they are. Correct? Maybe you are working as a contractor. If you are there as a contractor, the company is most probably not paying you for your insurance. And you have to cover yourself. What is the minimum insurance I would recommend? 1 crore is the minimum I would recommend. And the earlier you get started, the better it is. You apply for 1 crore insurance at the age of 45, they'll charge you about 60,000 per annum as your term insurance, what do you say? Premium, right? If you apply the same thing at the age of 25, it will probably be about 20,000 per year or something like that. Now insurance has become a very competitive thing, so maybe it has come down. Go and find it out, correct? Incidentally, there are some very good government schemes that people are not knowing about. And I had personally written a very long WhatsApp message and forwarded it to all my groups. So there was a scheme under which Modi government said that you can get an insurance of 2 lakh rupees at a premium of 12 rupees. Just by paying 12 rupees, you get an accidental insurance, yearly accidental term insurance of 2 lakh rupees. Correct? First I thought this is only for farmers. Then I came to know it is for everybody. And if you have got an account in a nationalized bank, something like ICICI, HDFC and so on, go ahead, talk to them. They should be able to give you that service. I went to SBI, State Bank, and I asked them, are you giving that service? They said, yes sir, pay 12 rupees. In fact, the documentation is so small. At times you just have to send an SMS to ICICI saying that buy this insurance for me. That's your first 2 lakhs, correct? Which everybody should get. 12 rupees is what? You pay more for a cup of tea. 12 rupees per annum. Correct? You don't get peanuts for 12 rupees nowadays. Correct? Number 2, for the next 2 lakh, you may have to end up spending something like 300 rupees. But in 300 or let's say in 400 rupees, you are getting insured for 4 lakh rupees. I went a bit further. I said, don't you have something bigger? He said, sir, pay me 1,000 rupees. I said, okay, and what will you give? I'll give you a term insurance cover of 20 lakh rupees. I couldn't believe it. If you have an account with State Bank, go and ask them. If you don't have an account, please open one. Because 1,000 rupees for a 20 lakh term insurance, that's like a wow, a big wow, right? We spend so much on apparels and specs and whatnot. Let me tell you, and this is a harsh reality that was told to me by a friend of mine. He said, what is your, are you insured? I said, of course I'm insured. What kind of question? Of course I'm insured. He said, how much? So I went through my LIC policies, this, that, and I said, I'm insured for 4.5 lakh rupees. He said, अगर तू मर गया ना, तो तेरे मैयत का खर्चा इससे ज़्यादा हो जाएगा. If you die, your family will end up spending their 4.5 lakh in 1 month. Correct? So what are you worth? बहुत अच्छा एक ऐड था इरफान खान का, कम इंश्योरेंस की बीमारी से बचो। अगर आपको कुछ हो गया, खुदा ना खास्ता, अगर आपको कुछ हो गया, टीवी वाला ईएमआई मांगने के लिए आएगा, इंश्योरेंस वाला चेक लेने के लिए आएगा। You decide whether you want the TV first or you want the insurance first. And let me remind you, even if you are employed, companies would give you whatever is the minimum requirement they have to fulfill from their side. So ask your company if you are covered. Correct? If you are going to travel abroad, which is what I do, you will probably not be covered by the insurance in India while you are traveling. So you may have to go in for a travel insurance and hospitalization cover if you are traveling. Big companies like Oracle, they probably have included in their package. So their people don't have to bother. I don't think everybody here works in Oracle. Am I right? So find out about it. These are things you need to know when you are working on your own. They are even more important. Health cover for yourself, your financial planning, liquidity in hand, correct, children's education. You'll have to plan for all this, whether you are employed or whether you are a freelancer. And I'm not going to talk about this because a financial advisor can, guide you much more on this. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Your assignment life cycle. So what's there? How do you handle the assignment? First, there's an inquiry. You study the requirement, you prepare, estimate, check the feasibility, discuss, prepare a quote. In the quotation, I just showed you that template. In the quotation, there will be things that are included in the scope, excluded from the scope, and so on. Then there is a PO. PO means a purchase order or a work order which will be given to you against that you work. You have to ask for advance. You may not get it, correct? But you still have to ask for it, correct? People will say, advance we will pay. And you are so happy, I'm going to get advance, right? And then they tell you, we have a 30 days credit period. Now within those 30 days, you may end up doing the project. So your advance comes after your project is over. And then the final payment comes even after that. That's why you have to ask for advance. So that the first installment you are going to get as soon as possible. Price that you are going to quote, I don't know how you are going to come up to your price, but this is a guideline that I am going to give you. There are 365 days in a year, 52 weeks in a year, 104 non-working days, Saturdays and Sundays. Correct? Yes. So 20 national and other holidays, 45 days for your leaves, trainings, investment in yourself and so on, which leaves you 196 days to work. So decide your rate, hourly rate. What is the hourly rate you are going to charge? Correct? Based on that, create your total, prepare your final price, add tax and everything and give a quotation. Right? So that's how you are going to prepare. Now I have got some tips for you, so I'll go through that because Vivek has been giving me time out for some time now. So number one, and we'll end after this. I have already told you, I've given you the link. If you download that, you'll get other material. Right? So marketing is a core function if you are freelancing. You have to get trained in it. People who are not able to market should not do their own business. Or then they'll have to hire a person who can do their marketing. And remember, then your dependence on that person is higher. And you may pay him more salaries than what you are earning. Because he knows marketing. So you'll have to train yourself in marketing. Marketing is the science and art of exploring, creating and delivering to satisfy needs. So that's by Philip Kotler. Principles of Marketing by Philip Kotler, Naked Marketing. These are two very good books if you want to learn marketing. Where are we? Yeah. You no longer have to satisfy the safety shell of the employer. I think I mentioned you. Entrepreneur creates a lot more opportunities than an employee. That's why everybody is talking about a startup. Correct? Learn how the money works. And the best way to learn that is read a book called The Rich Dad and Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Read that book at least 10 times. Then you'll understand it once. Correct? Read my article about successful freelancing. I told you that I'm going to put all that in the zip file. You have to learn to advertise, you have to learn to network. There are some cheats out there. And some of them, just to make themselves to be difficult to be defeated, have disguised in the name of companies. Because people don't fight companies. Correct? So be careful even when, or especially when you are dealing with a big company. Your outstanding, the money that people owe to you is going to go on increasing. Correct? So you are going to need that working capital forever. Right? Credit card charge almost is 40%. Freedom is what you get if you are a freelancer. If you can't handle freedom, don't go in for freelancing. Minimum of 1,000 days is the guideline. You will have to look at 1,000 days to get all your money back and then take a decision whether it's working out for you. Don't get into it for like करके देखते हैं 2 महीने में नहीं चला तो नहीं चला. It doesn't work out like this. Second income source helps. So if you are thinking it as a moonlighting thing, yes, freelancing can be a second income activity, as somebody has said. No vacations. You hardly get any vacations. Correct? Invest in yourself and your training. If you expect to make more than 20 lakh per year as a freelancer, this is very important. You should not be working alone. You cannot charge a rate which will give you 20 lakhs per annum. People will not pay you that rate. So you have to have a team. And that's why Technorites as a proprietary concern became a private limited company. Well, I already mentioned about this. So quotations and invoices and send on. So this is my email ID and those are the links. Once again, the first link over there is the link to this particular material. This notes and the quotation invoice template, quotation template, transcript and so on is all there in the first link, a zip file. The second link is my yesterday's presentation, the inaugural presentation, that's the second link. And these are Google links and they are case sensitive. So if you make that capital to small, the link will not work. Alright, thank you very much. I think I am.
Thank you so much. We would like to congratulate you and thank you so much for that wonderful presentation.